The July air was oddly cold that morning in New York City. On Fifth Avenue, where glass towers pierced the sky and people hurried in tailored suits, a man sat quietly on the sidewalk, ignored, dismissed, forgotten. Former Army Sergeant Michael Silva, 45, wrapped a worn military blanket around his shoulders. His beard was unkempt, clothes tattered, yet his posture betrayed discipline. 22 years of service had not left him. He'd been deployed in Haiti twice, awarded the Medal of Honor, and trained hundreds of soldiers. But after a spinal injury and his wife Mary's cancer, which drained his finances and soul, Michael had landed here, invisible among the city's elite. His few belongings were in a weathered backpack, an old photo, carefully laminated documents, and a medal he never wore. To him, they were more than mementos. They were pieces of dignity he refused to lose. "Hey, move it, bum." Officer Jake Thompson, 28, stood over him, gripping his baton. Known for his temper and obsession with control, Jake viewed the homeless as disruptions. To him, Michael was just another eyesore. "I'm not bothering anyone, officer," Michael replied calmly. "This isn't a shelter. Get lost, or I'll make you." Michael didn't flinch. Instead, he slowly looked up. "May I see your badge number?" Jake blinked. "What? You're a public official. I have a right to know who's addressing me." The shift was subtle but real. The crowd began to notice. Mrs. Eleanor, who ran the newsstand, stepped closer. A man in a suit, Dr. Richard Miller, a civil attorney, paused, quietly recording the exchange on his phone. Jake's voice grew louder. "You think just because you sound smart, you can ignore the law? Move." Michael stood up slowly, straight-backed like a soldier in formation. "I'm within my rights. I've broken no law. I have documentation. Would you like to see it?" Jake snatched the wallet Michael handed over, scoffing, until he read the name. Michael Silva, U.S. Army, retired, Medal of Honor. His confidence faltered. "This has to be fake," he muttered. "You are homeless. I served this country for 2 decades. I trained men to defend the freedoms you now enforce. I was injured saving civilians. My wife died, and the bills buried me. That doesn't erase who I am." Gasps rippled through the onlookers. Jake tried to recover. "Doesn't matter. You can't sit here." "Obstructing what exactly?" Michael's voice was now sharp, commanding. "I've hurt no one, spoken to no one, and broken no law. You're using power without cause." More phones were recording now. Jake's grip tightened on his baton. "You're disrespecting law enforcement." "I'm questioning abuse of it," Michael countered, eyes steady. Just then, a booming voice rang out. "Officer Thompson, stand down." Lieutenant Colonel Robert Miller, NYPD, battalion commander and former Army officer, strode forward. One glance at Michael, and recognition dawned. "Sergeant Silva?" he asked. "Yes, sir," Michael replied, offering a faint smile. "Operation Haiti, 2012. You were still Major Miller then." Robert's expression hardened. "Officer Thompson, do you realize who this man is? He's a decorated war veteran who served under my command." Jake looked stunned. Dr. Miller stepped forward. "Lieutenant Colonel, I'm a legal witness. That officer's conduct violated several civil rights." More cameras appeared. A news van parked nearby, but Michael raised a hand. "Sir, if I may, I'd like to speak to Officer Thompson alone." The request shocked everyone. Lieutenant Colonel Miller hesitated, then nodded. Michael and Jake stepped aside. "Officer," Michael began, "do you remember the oath you swore when you put on that uniform?" Jake lowered his head. "To protect and serve." "Exactly. Not judge and harass. In Haiti, I had a soldier like you, aggressive, impatient. He almost caused an international scandal. I could have ruined his career. Instead, I taught him. Today, he's a decorated leader." Jake's eyes met Michael's. A flicker of shame passed through him. "I don't hate you," Michael said softly. "But you need to understand that respect is earned, not forced." Suddenly, a sleek black car pulled up. Out stepped Dr. Carmen Rodriguez, Secretary of Public Safety. Her eyes scanned the growing crowd. "I've been briefed," she said. "This has become a serious matter. All parties involved will be interviewed. But first, I need to speak with Sergeant Silva." Michael nodded, stepping forward. Cameras followed. Dr. Rodriguez lowered her voice. We've been looking for veterans like you. We have programs, initiatives. You could help rebuild the system from the inside. Before Michael could respond, a sharp voice interrupted. Hold on. A man pushed through the crowd, tall, clean-cut, and furious that IT was Congressman Alan Brooks, known for his hardline stance on homelessness and public safety. His eyes locked on Michael. What is this? Why are we protecting vagrants who disrupt the economy? Metal or not, this is still loitering. Michael didn't move. His hands remained by his sides. Dr. Rodriguez turned, eyebrows raised. Congressman Brooks, with all due respect, this man has done more for this country than most on Capitol Hill. Spare me, Brooks snapped. This is political theater. The cameras turned toward Michael again. The tension was unbearable. Then Michael took a slow breath, stepped forward, and said, Congressman, would you like to know what it feels like to bleed for a country that forgets you? Silence fell, but before he could finish, a commotion erupted behind him, and then everything changed. Dr. Rodriguez, impressed, made an offer. Sergeant Silva, our department is developing a human rights training program for police officers. I need someone with your experience and, clearly, your wisdom to lead it. Michael, who had lost everything, was offered a chance to rebuild. If you accept, Jake stammered, I would like to be your first student. Michael looked at the young officer, seeing potential beyond the arrogance. Officer Thompson, the first lesson is this. True authority comes not from force, but from the respect we earn through our actions. Jake saluted, not because he was ordered to, but because he finally understood who deserved his respect. A new beginning. In the following weeks, the video of Michael and Jake went viral. Michael settled into a small apartment provided by the Department of Public Safety, finding purpose again. The Human Rights and Community Relations program began, with Michael as its civilian instructor and Jake among his first students. For next week, Michael told his class, I want each of you to talk to someone on the streets that you would normally ignore. Not as police officers, but as human beings. Discover their stories. Jake, transformed by Michael's teachings, reported a profound encounter with Antonio, a retired math teacher forced onto the streets. He's not lazy or a bum, Jake shared. He's a broken father trying to survive. The experience shifted Jake's perspective. Our job isn't just to arrest criminals. It's to protect vulnerable people. 3 months later, a real-life test arose. A conflict erupted on Fifth Avenue between homeless individuals camped on the sidewalk and angry residents demanding their removal. Jake, now equipped with Michael's mediation skills, found himself at the center of the dispute. He recognized Antonio and Mrs. Eleanor in the agitated crowd. Michael and Dr. Rodriguez arrived, observing the scene. Michael empowered Jake. Officer Thompson, what did you learn about finding common ground between adversaries? Jake realized both sides sought safety. Find a way for both groups to feel safe, without that meaning the exclusion of one of them. Michael smiled discreetly. Dr. Rodriguez, impressed by Jake's growth, granted him authority to negotiate. Jake, now filled with a genuine desire to help, stepped forward. He shared his own story of prejudice and redemption, confessing how he had treated Michael. He introduced Antonio as a respected former teacher, not just a homeless man. Then, he proposed a solution: temporary housing, a community patrolling program where residents and homeless people work together for safety, and a local support center. The revolutionary idea of integration over segregation won over the crowd. Mrs. Eleanor and Antonio stepped forward, pledging their support. 3 months later, Fifth Avenue was a national model. Michael, now National Director of Human Rights and Public Safety, walked the same sidewalk alongside Sergeant Jake Thompson. They paused at the bench where Michael once slept. A discreet plaque read, Sergeant Michael Silva Community Support Center, where every story can have a new beginning. You save more lives here than in Haiti, Jake told him, including mine. Mrs. Eleanor, now the center's official mother, brought a homemade cake. At a meeting, Michael reflected, 6 months ago, I was invisible. Today I see I never was. You just needed to learn to see. Jake, emotional, added, "When I approached you that day, I thought I was protecting society from people like you. Now I understand my job was to protect people like you from society. And more, to protect society from the ignorance of people like me." 2 years later, the program had expanded to 127 cities. Michael, its national director, and Jake, now a sergeant and instructor, traveled the country, sharing their story. On a sunny September morning, Jake called Michael to Fifth Avenue. A crowd gathered under a banner. Second anniversary of the Sergeant Michael Silva Community Support Center, 847 lives transformed. Michael, seeing the diverse faces, entrepreneurs embracing former homeless people, officers playing with children, whispered to the sky, "Mary, I think we did it." A young girl approached, handing him a drawing of a police officer and a man on a sidewalk, shaking hands under a rainbow. "My teacher said sometimes the most beautiful endings begin with the saddest beginnings," she explained. Michael embraced her, tears of gratitude streaming down his face. The revenge he never sought had transformed into the redemption everyone deserved.